everybody, welcome to Johnson's Farm. My name is Farmer Diane. We're here today. We really have been missing all of our farmer students and our teachers, so we've decided to kind of do some live Facebook feeds for everybody so we can do some visiting. This is Farmer Mark. He's going to talk with you for just a second.
Well, good morning, boys and girls. Some of you may remember me from your hay rides. I miss all of you guys. Would love to see you come back here. So we're going to do our special virtual field trip today. And Farmer Leah is going to tell about the subject of the day, which is bees and all they do for our farmers.
All right. Hi, boys and girls. We're so excited to be here with you today live from Medford, New Jersey, here on Johnson's Farm. Today's subject is bees. And as you can see, I've got tons of bees swarming around me here. But what I like to say is as long as we're not bugging the bees, they're not going to bug us. So I'm not going to bug them and they're not going to bug me. But bees are super important to farmers. We have over 500,000 bees here on the farm. And we like to call them our farmers' helpers. And what they do for us, well, they do many things. But one of the big things they do for us right around now is pollination. And I'm here right now in our strawberry field. And as you can see, some of our strawberries are fruiting, which means they have strawberry fruit on the plants. And then other of our plants are still flowering. And those flowers need to be pollinated by the bees. And the ways that the bees do that is the bees go into the plant and they actually go in to get their food, which is the nectar. But while they're in there, they move the pollen around in the plant and that makes pollination occur. And after the pollination happens, then the plant can fruit. Now here on the farm, we need bees for all sorts of crops. We need them for our strawberries, our blueberries, our peaches, cherries, and even our pumpkins. What's really kind of crazy about pumpkins is that there's two kinds of pumpkin flowers. There's a female and a male pumpkin flower. So that pollen actually needs to move from a bee. So the bee has to go to one flower and move that pollen to another flower in order for a pumpkin to grow. So this fall, when you're carving a pumpkin, make sure you thank a bee. Actually, you need to thank a bee almost every time you're eating because bees, pollination from bees, we need that for over 1/3 of the food that we eat. So definitely thank bees when you're eating your lunch today. So they help us so much. So behind me here, I have a bee box. So it doesn't look like much, but there's so much going on inside of this. Each bee box has 30,000 bees that live in it. Some can have even more depending on the size. Here on our farm, we have 15 bee boxes. And these boxes get moved around depending on where Farmer Johnson needs them to be. So right now we need them in our strawberries. And then after, in a couple weeks, we might need them somewhere else, maybe by the pumpkin fields. So they might head on over to another field. And they get moved by the beekeeper. And that happens at night because bees are very active during the day, going out pollinating, bringing the nectar back to their beehive. So we don't like to bother them during the day. So we move them at night when they're nice, cozy in their beehive and sleeping. So super cool, super interesting. What's really cool too is that sometimes these beehives can split. And a couple weeks ago here on the farm, we actually had a beehive split because it got so big that it needed to split. And it started to make a swarm on one of the kids' toys in the yard. So we were able to have the beekeeper come out at night and he set up a bee box right next to that toy. And after a couple days, those bees kind of moved from that toy into the bee box. We were able to save that hive and make another hive for them. Today I have a friend with me, a local friend who is actually a beekeeper, and she's going to show us a little bit about what it's like to be a beekeeper. So come on over. This is my friend Callie.
Hi.
And she is a 6th grader from Olson Middle School in Tabernacle, and she's also a beekeeper. So Callie, what do you have on right now?
I have a bee suit, so it protects me from getting stung.
Okay, so this is Callie's bee suit. So you put this on every time you're doing bee stuff?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So she brought some old beehive boxes for us to look at. But Callie, can you tell me, what do you have to do to be a beekeeper? How often do you have to check on your bees?
Every Sunday you check, well, we check every week,
Okay.
and we do that on Sunday.
So she checks once a week on her bees. So that really doesn't take that much, right?
Yeah, and here we have these frames, and they draw these out,
Okay.
and actually,
So that's a frame. So that's a
Yeah.
bee box frame. So this is where the bees make their honeycomb.
so it starts out as like just like a line, and they draw on that, and that's how you get it bigger here. So here's what it started as, and here how it lifted up.
Oh, cool. So this is old honeycomb. So
Yeah.
the bees actually make this, and then this is where they keep their honey. So cool. All right, you can put that back in. Can you show me what is this?
That is a smoker. So this, if you want, when you check the bees, hands in
Okay.
and grab it like that, and that's what this tool's for, to spread them out.
Oh, so that's your tool. So then
Yeah.
the smoker helps kind of like make the bees a little drowsy.
And it moves them from your spot. So
It
to get your
moves them.
hands there, you have to spread it there,
Okay.
and then grab it.
Awesome. That's great. So how long have you been beekeeping, Callie?
A few months.
Just a few months. So
Yeah.
will you get honey this year?
No, we have to wait another year. So next year, probably in the summer, we'll
Okay.
get honey, and because they need the honey for the winter, because honey in the winter, that's what they eat.
Oh, so for the first year, Callie and her family won't be getting any honey because the bees need that honey to stay healthy and keep growing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, good luck with your bees. Thank you so much for sharing
Thank
with us.
you.
Awesome. And speaking of honey, that's another part of this whole bee process that we haven't even talked about yet. Honey is another gift that bees give us, which we are so lucky. And here in our beehives on the farm, the honey is collected or harvested every couple of weeks. The beekeeper comes out, he harvests the honey, and then he puts these little frames back in so the bees can keep working and keep making more. We do actually sell some of our local honey from here on our farm in our market. And what I think is also cool about honey is that it also gets its flavor from where the bees have been pollinating. So sometimes you might see clover honey or blueberry honey, and that it gets its name and its flavor from where the bees have been. So really cool. I mean, we've learned a lot about bees today. I know I am super thankful for bees, and I hope next time you see one, instead of thinking, oh no, it's going to sting me, you think about how grateful you are because they give us so much. So thank you for joining us today. Please comment, like this, and share it. We are so thankful to have you. We miss you guys, and we look forward to seeing you next week.